We all remember what happened in 1996, but what does 2021 hold in store? It's the next chapter of international football's oldest rivalry, England against Scotland, at 7 o'clock on ITV with Roy Keane, Ian Wright and Graham Souness.
I was convicted of a dreadful crime that I did not commit.
It's not very dangerous, man. A woman needs to be put behind.
Now the latest ITV news in the Calendar region.
Good evening, welcome to ITV News. This is Friday's Calendar with Sally Simpson and Michael Billington.
And here are tonight's main stories.
As COVID claims another life, tributes to Jason Kelk, who battled the virus for 15 months and who what today said was an inspiration to others.
Very strong, very kind, very loving. And just a hero, really.
Then it hits the by-election cap.
The build-up to the big game as soggy seats await football.
Plus, we are your...
It's even time to be a football. Yeah, it's even time to be an England fan as well.
First tonight, we start with some sad news here on Calendar. We've been covering the health battles of Jason Kelk, who was thought to be the UK's longest surviving COVID hospital patient.
Yes, 49-year-old Jason had been in intensive care for 15 months, and just a few weeks ago, after his health improved, to be with his wife, Sue.
But after his condition dramatically worsened, his strength failed and he told doctors he no longer wanted treatment. He died today, as John Hill reports.
In a time perhaps short of hope, these pictures offered a glimmer of light. Jason Kelk taking some of his first steps in almost a year, determined to beat coronavirus.
Oh, my flowers are beautiful.
And then on Valentine's Day, doctors allowed him a brief escape from the intensive care unit to be reunited with his wife Sue. It all seemed like a positive turning point, but it was not to be. In recent weeks, Jason suffered a relapse. His body now greatly weakened. He told doctors to end his treatment and died today. Sue spoke to us this morning, just hours earlier.
Jason's made the very brave decision that he just doesn't want to carry on. He doesn't want to live this life, not knowing how he's going to be. We've tried everything, and it's just not fair to keep badgering him. You know, he's made up his mind. We've tried, and he just doesn't want to. You know, we could have gone to court, maybe, but what's the point? You know, I don't want him to die hating me.
It was the end of March when an IT worker fell ill with COVID. Since then, Jason suffered delirium, damage to his kidneys and a cardiac arrest. But in April this year, he was well enough to talk to Calendar on a video call.
What would it mean, Jason, for you to come home?
Well, I mean, everything. To get back to the normality. Since I've been telling you, the efficiencies with the same.
Last night, Jason's head teacher was allowed to visit him in hospital for the final time.
I was really proud that I was given the opportunity to go and see him yesterday, even though it was only immediate family members, and just be able to spend an hour with him holding his hand, you know, being able to give him a hug goodbye, kissing him on his head, you know, because he's been at this school for 17 years. He revolutionised IT, and it's just a really sad day and sad weekend.
How would you like Jason to be remembered?
Somebody who's very strong, very kind, very loving, and just a hero, really. You know, I think he's given hope to a lot of people that have suffered with COVID and the after effects of COVID, and maybe realise that it's a really horrible thing, and to follow the rules, abide by the rules.
Sue Kelk speaking to John Hill there. And if you've been affected by any issues raised in that report, there are details on our website of organisations you can contact for help and advice. Just go to itv.com/calendar.
The Conservative MP for Wakefield, Imran Ahmed Khan, has appeared in court charged with sexually assaulting a 15-year-old boy. Well, Katie Oscroft is in our newsroom with more details. What more can you tell us, Katie?
Well, Sally, the allegation against the 47-year-old dates back to 2008, and the offence is said to have taken place in Staffordshire. The alleged victim can't be identified for legal reasons. Now, Mr Khan appeared before Westminster magistrates yesterday via a video link, and reporting restrictions which meant he could not be named were lifted today. He's indicated he will plead not guilty to the charge of sexual assault, and he will next appear at the Old Bailey in London on July the 15th. Until then, he's been granted unconditional bail.
Katie Oscroft in our newsroom, thank you. Tributes have been paid to Paul Lamb, the campaigner from Leeds who challenged the law which criminalises assisted suicide, who's died at the age of 65. He was paralysed from the neck down, apart from limited movement in his right arm following a car crash just over 30 years ago. He lived in constant pain and needed 24-hour care. He died in hospital on Tuesday.
When I first met Paul, I was so astonished by the grit and determination that he showed despite the most challenging of circumstances he personally faced. And I found him a complete inspiration. He wasn't shy in coming forward and campaigning for an assisted dying law, even though he might not be able to take advantage of that.
Well, still to come on calendar this evening.
Cloudy skies and rain on the Sheffield weather cam earlier on today. It's a weekend of two halves weather-wise. Which way around is it though? I'll let you know later in the programme. And ahead of the big game between England and Scotland tonight, I'm at a junior club in Leeds, where England's hero of the tournament so far took his first steps on the road to stardom. And
I'm soaking up the pre-match atmosphere at this beer garden in Leeds. It may be a little damp, but nobody here seems to care.
On to some more of today's news now. The Prime Minister hit the campaign trail in Batley and Spen this afternoon ahead of the by-election there in a fortnight's time, and Boris Johnson offered an apology to Muslim voters over previous comments about women wearing the burqa.
It follows a visit from the Labour leader last week, whose visit we also covered. The PM says he's confident about the Conservative campaign, despite the seat being held by Labour for almost a quarter of a century. Here's our political correspondent, Harry Horton.
After a bruising by-election defeat further south, the Prime Minister was in Batley today, inspecting the Conservative campaign in West Yorkshire.
What we want to do is get on with our agenda of uniting, levelling up, putting more police out on the streets of West Yorkshire, instilling skills.
Labour's majority here is just over 3,000 votes, but with a big Muslim population in Batley, will Boris Johnson's past comments comparing Muslim women wearing the burqa to letterboxes hurt his party's chances here?
Will you apologise for those comments you've made about Muslim women wearing the burqa?
I've already said that, I've said it many times, that for things that I've said in the past which are taken out of context and are given offence, of course I'm sorry for that.
Conservative candidate Ryan Stevenson hopes a visit from the Prime Minister will boost his campaign.
Just look at the reaction in Fox's Biscuit Factory today. The workforce absolutely loved the visit from the Prime Minister, and it's important that we have the opportunity to talk to the staff and the management here about our plan for more jobs and apprenticeships in the area and getting the investment we need from government to deliver and improve Batley and Spen for the better. So I think everybody here was delighted the Prime Minister made the effort, and so was I.
The Labour leader Keir Starmer was campaigning here last week, but the party's candidate Kim Leadbeater says the focus shouldn't be on visiting politicians.
Most people are focused on what happens within the local community in the local area. So I think it's really important not to get distracted by lots of people who are going to come and visit the constituency over the next few weeks. What I'm focusing on is when all those people go, we all have to live here together peacefully. So my focus is very much on listening to people of Batley and Spen over this next couple of weeks.
With 14 other candidates standing, there's plenty selection for voters in a seat both Labour and the Conservatives are desperate to win. Harry Horton, ITV News in Batley and Spen.
Well, here's a list of the candidates who are contesting the Batley and Spen by-election.